Hello and welcome to the Media Online's new video series, where we ask newsmakers the hard questions and explore the hot topics. I'm the site's multimedia journalist, Michael Bratt. Nothing has dominated the headlines more in recent weeks than the goings-on at the SABC. Our guest joining us to share his views on the matter is Nick McKay. He's a global campaigner for global civic movement, Avaaz. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Michael.
So to start off, how did Avaaz become involved in the SABC matter?
Well, as you said, Avaaz is a global civic movement. We have over 44 million members around the world, including more than 300,000 in South Africa. And we exist to bring together citizens, ordinary people, to take action on issues that matter. And so when it became clear that under the leadership of Tlhabi Motsoeneng and the current SABC board, the SABC was fast becoming the South African Bureau of Censorship, we decided that we had to get involved. You know, the SABC Charter is this beautiful document that talks about the role that the SABC should play in providing a foundation for a free and democratic South Africa. But the editorial policy changes that have taken place under Motsoeneng and his leadership amount to censorship. We have seen a shutdown of any reporting on protests. We've seen a direction to skew election coverage, to only report on good news. And all of this is very, very concerning. And what the SABC does and doesn't report on matters, because 9 out of 10 South Africans rely on it for their news and information.
One of the things that Avaaz is known for is the petition it created, calling for the removal of Tlhabi Motsoeneng.
Yeah.
The question is, why target Tlhabi?
Well, maybe let me first start with why care about this issue in the SABC, because the SABC is a key pillar of South Africa's democracy. You know, the media, and particularly as the national broadcaster, has a critical role to play in informing, educating and empowering citizens to take part in this democracy. But under Tlhabi Motsoeneng and the current board, they have taken a wrecking ball, not only to the SABC, but to South African democracy. And what we saw last Monday was nothing short of remarkable. CASA delivered a ruling saying that the SABC's policy changes were completely out of line and needed to be scrapped. We've seen journalists around the country ringing the alarm bells about what this means, and we now have, as you say, this Avaaz petition signed by 32,000 ordinary South Africans speaking out against this. And yet, Motsoeneng and the SABC board are seemingly drunk with power. They do not seem to care or want to listen to what anybody else has to say. And with elections coming up in just 3 weeks' time, this is a cancer for democracy. Not only that, but it's now come to light that the SABC is in the midst of a financial crisis, due in no small part to complete mismanagement by Motsoeneng and the board. And so what we are calling for, and what this petition is calling for, is to say that Motsoeneng and the current SABC board must be removed, that the brave journalists who have spoken out against this should be reinstated, and these censorship policies must be scrapped.
So who is that petition going to be sent to? And when will it be sent to them?
So the petition, as I said, which has been signed by 32,000 ordinary South Africans from around the country, is being addressed to the Minister of Communications and the Chair of the SABC board. It's been signed by all of these people. There's been 700 direct messages that have been sent by Avaaz members as well, reinforcing just how important this is to ordinary South Africans. And the petition itself will be delivered in the coming days. But in light of the response by Tlhabi Motsoeneng and the board last Monday, and the disregard that they've shown for ICASA, for journalists, for the public, we've also decided to take our campaign up a notch. So, as I said, it's recently come to light that the SABC is facing a financial crisis and is urgently seeking 1.5 billion rand in loans. And Nedbank, among others, has expressed interest in assisting. Now, we see this actually as being a great opportunity to save not only the SABC, but also South Africa's democracy. But if a bailout is given under the current leadership of the SABC, it could quite literally bring the economy and the country to its knees. And so the next stage of our campaign is actually going to be focused on Nedbank, and in particular on the Nedbank CEO, Mike Brown. And we're going to be asking Mr. Brown to make a commitment that any loan given to the SABC to help in mitigating this financial crisis will be contingent on the removal of Tlhabi Motsoeneng and the current board.
And do you think that that strategy is going to work? Because my question was going to be about the petition. SABC hasn't seemed to care what anybody else has said, so they'll just look at the petition and go, well, we're not going to take any action of it. So now you're targeting Nedbank.
Yes, we are. Yeah. And look, as you say, the response by the SABC and in particular by Tlhari Motsoeneng has been bewildering in some ways. I mean, the SABC exists to serve the public. That's their role. That's why they're there. They are this key pillar of democracy. They are the vehicle through which 9 out of 10 South Africans get their news and information. So why they wouldn't care about what the public thinks, it just is stunning. But it's more than that. It's actually shocking. But that is the reality currently, and so part of our response to the press conference and the statements from last Monday, and our decision to target and now speak to Nedbank is based on that. The CEO of Nedbank, Mike Brown, from everything that we know, seems like a very reasonable man. Nedbank itself is a public brand that understandably cares about its image. It has a great focus on its vision and its values, and for that reason, we sincerely hope that they are going to be more willing to listen to the voices of ordinary South Africans and more willing to step up and do what's necessary to save the SABC and help save South Africa's democracy. Specifically, as I said, to make sure that they make any loan to the SABC contingent on the removal of the current leadership and specifically Tlhari Motsoeneng.
And just quickly, what is your message to ordinary South Africans?
Well, I think it's less about my message to ordinary South Africans and more about ordinary South Africans' message to the SABC and to leaders like Mike Brown. What South Africans are saying is that we care about the future of this country. We care about a democracy that has been so hard fought and that means so much to people not only here but around the world. And we care about all that the SABC represents in that context. It is this critical pillar of South Africa's democracy, and it must be saved. And the current situation of censorship under Motsoeneng and the board must stop. These people must be removed, and the SABC must be restored to everything that it represents and everything that it is to South Africa and to the world.
Very strong message. Thanks very much, Nick.
Thank you.
That was Nick McKay. He's the global campaigner for global civic movement Avaaz. Until next week, I'm Michael Bratt.